Hi everyone, welcome back to our channel. In this video, we're talking about First Certificate Speaking Part 3. During the video, there are some great tips on how to do Speaking Part 3 and a chance to have a discussion with me at the end. And remember, if you're studying for a Cambridge exam or you want to know any more about it, I highly recommend subscribing to Home Studies. And I invite you to turn on the notifications so you don't miss any new videos and give us a like. As we know from our past two videos, there are 4 parts in the FCE speaking test, which all assess different speaking skills. In this video, we're going to take a closer look at part 3, which is the collaborative task, and this is one of the tasks you do with your partner. You will be given a question to discuss with 5 prompts, and you do this discussion with your partner, and this is about 2 minutes long. Then the examiner will stop you and ask you another question, which they would like you to reach a conclusion on in about 1 minute. So we're looking at Speaking Part 3, but what does Speaking Part 3 look like? Well, it looks like this. The examiner will say, here are some ways in which people might enjoy spending their free time. Talk together about why people might find these ways of spending their free time relaxing or enjoyable. So you have the question and then you have 5 prompts around it. So we've got going to the beach, reading novels, playing computer games, taking a cooking class, and playing in a sports team. So in this video, I'm going to show you the best way to answer this type of task with your partner. So just like in the last 2 videos, I'm going to give you some examiner tips along the way. And my first tip is look at each other. This might sound simple, but it's very important. Who are you having the conversation with? The examiner or your partner? Your partner, so please look at them. It can be a little strange for us examiners when 2 people are looking at us when they're supposed to be talking to each other. Also, bear in mind that the examiners have to mark you on your interactive communication, which basically means how good you are at responding and listening and having a conversation with your partner. I'm often asked, how do I do Speaking Part 3? And I always say, well, Speaking Part 3 is like a game of tennis or chess. You need 2 people to play, and they should both be given equal amounts of time. So one starts, then the other, and so on, back and forth. So in Speaking Part 3, you're discussing the prompts that you've been given. So let's have a brainstorm about 1 positive thing and 1 negative thing you can say about each of these prompts. Pause the video and have a think about it and press play when you're ready to check your answers. Off you go. So here are some examples that I came up with. So a positive about going to the beach is that there are many options for different activities. But a negative could be that some people don't like sand, or another one is that it can be really crowded, especially in summer. So playing in a sports team, I thought a positive could be meeting new friends and doing something active, but a negative could be that you might not enjoy sport or you could have an injury. Reading novels. You can enjoy getting lost in fantasy and escapism, but it might be a bit lonely just to do that all the time. Taking a cooking class, you can enjoy learning about new food and, of course, the best thing in the world, eating. But it could be too expensive, or you might be on a diet, very important. Something positive about playing computer games is that they're fun and engaging and you could play it online with other people. But it might be too difficult for some people and maybe staying inside all the time could feel a little stuffy. So let's see how we can put our ideas into action. Here's our model answer, and remember it's like a game of tennis. So we're going to have candidate A is our man and candidate B is our woman. So candidate A will say, shall I start? Personally, I think people enjoy going to the beach because it's a very relaxing environment. You can do lots of different things at the beach like read or play volleyball or go for a swim. So there's something for everyone. Do you agree? So you see how our man here has given an answer and then passed it over to candidate B, or our woman. And she's going to respond, I'm afraid I don't agree. I think a lot of people find the beach too crowded and hot, and a lot of people don't like sand. So for some it can be relaxing, but for others it can be a nightmare. So here you see she's given her opinion, but she needs to hand it back to our man. I think a lot of people would really enjoy being part of a sports team because not only do you get to play the sport you love, you also make new friends and feel like part of a community. How about you? And then we go back to candidate A, our man. So you see, it's just like a game of tennis. Ping, pong, ping, pong. Now, the most important tip I can give you for speaking part 3 is that it's good to disagree. It's actually encouraged by examiners as it's more interesting to listen to, and it really helps to keep the conversation going. If you agree with everything your partner says, then there isn't much to talk about. As long as it's done politely, it's absolutely no problem. And in the following slides, I'll show you how to do this. So listening to your partner and responding to what they're saying is worth 20% of your whole speaking score. So here is some language to be able to do that. We've got inviting your partner to speak, giving your opinion, agreeing and disagreeing. Now here are some examples. I'd like you now to pause the video and to think of some more examples and then press play when you're ready to check your answers. Off you go. Okay, so we've got would you like to start, but then next we can also say what do you think? Do you agree? How about you? And you? Giving your opinion, I think, I believe, in my opinion, personally, for me, or from my perspective. Agreeing, we've got the classic me too, then absolutely, I agree. If you want to emphasize this, I completely agree, or definitely. And disagreeing, see how polite it is? I can't agree, I disagree, I'm afraid I don't agree. I'm not sure I agree with that. I see what you mean, but... So you've had your discussion and spoken for 2 minutes about as many as the prompts as you could. It's not so important to talk about all of them if you don't have enough time. And now you have the reaching a conclusion part. So the examiner will say, now decide together which activity would appeal the most to people between 25 and 35 years old. So here is a model answer about what happens when the candidates agree with each other on the first prompt they talk about. So this time, candidate A, our man, is going to say, why don't you start this time? And a woman will say, okay, thanks. For me, the most appealing would be taking a cooking class because you'd be learning a new skill, having fun, making friends and eating all at once. What more could you ask for? How about you? Now, candidate A is going to say, absolutely. So you can see that if you agree straight away, you have absolutely nothing to keep talking about, and there's just crickets, which is an expression in English to mean silence. So, a tip. Give another option to your partner in the decision part so it promotes discussion. Now, it doesn't matter if you don't make a decision because the examiners are listening for your abilities to make your point and discuss options. So let's try again. Candidate B, our woman, asks candidate A, how about you? And our man responds, whilst I see your point, what about reading novels or playing computer games? After a long week at work, I would imagine most people might prefer to be on their own and have a little me time. A cooking class, whilst fun, could be a bit tiring for some people. What do you think about that? So you see, by giving another option, it promotes a discussion, and on we can go for a full minute without any awkward silences. Okay, so here's some tips for some common problems. So what about if you don't understand your partner? Well, no problem. Sometimes we don't understand each other in real life. All you have to say is, sorry, could you repeat that? Or, so are you saying? Then repeat what your partner said. Or, what do you mean by, and the word that you didn't understand? Easy. Now, sometimes you might have a very chatty partner, and it's important that you are heard too, so you can just interrupt politely, like this. Sorry to interrupt. Before you carry on, I'd just like to say, or can I stop you just for a second? Okay, now it's over to you. So, have a look at this mind map on the screen. Why would these items be useful for a trip to the beach? So we've got our umbrella, first aid kit, ice lollies, volleyball net and a snorkeling mask. I'd like you to pause the video now and to think of one thing for each of the prompts that you could say about it. Then, if you like, you can record yourself saying what you think, because this is a really good way to check your pronunciation, your accuracy, and your intonation. Once you've finished, press play for the next part of the task. And now it's time for you to interact with me. You can pause the video after each statement and say if you agree or disagree. Don't forget to give reasons why. Or, better yet, why don't you write your answers in the comments and a teacher from Home Studies will give you some feedback on your answers. Are you ready? So, I believe that an umbrella would be useful because it protects you from the sun at the hottest part of the day. And you? For me, ice lollies aren't that useful because they might melt and you can probably buy some at a beach bar. How about you? Personally, I don't think a snorkeling mask is useful because at most beaches there isn't much to see underwater except other people's legs. Do you agree? From my perspective, a first aid kit is very useful because lots of minor accidents happen at the beach. What do you think? So you've had some great tips in this video and here are a few more practice ideas. So download our free practice pack for extra practice in speaking part 3 and ask a friend or relative to practice with you, or if you want to, practice on your own and be both candidates. And don't forget, you can always contact Home Studies for a free first certificate trial lesson. Thank you so much for watching our video and we hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to subscribe and we'll see you next time.